Ready, set, go.
I have I have something that I wanted to do. It's a pretty niche activity. Um yeah. It's a pretty niche activity, but it's just for me really. We're going to be doing a tier list for all of the albums of one of my favorite bands. So if you at any yes, gaming if you at any point were invested in the fascinating world of Christian punk music, then you're gonna want to stick around, cause oh boy, have we got a show for you. We're gonna do a tier list for a band that Christian punk music is a thing, and some of it slaps. Um, Honestly, some of it is inevitably going to be a little bit cringe, but I like. Here's the thing: is over the course of my life, I have my tastes in music have changed quite a bit. They really have. But this band has stuck with me and has grown with me over the years. Over the course of the band has been making music about as long as I've been alive, maybe a little bit less time. Oh hell yeah! Thank you for the follow, Captain Blocks. I hope you enjoy that nice little gif of Alicia giving you finger guns. That's the first time one of those has shown up without me having to test whether it works or not. That's beautiful. I love that. Okay. But yes, this band has changed and grown at about the same rate as I have. I don't think that's entirely a coincidence, but it's a little bit of a coincidence. Um, so, and I don't know if I would call them punk anymore. You can definitely still hear the punk influences in their latest album, um, but it's good stuff. And they inevitably, because it's Christian punk, some of it's going to be cringe, especially seeing as they were making stuff in the early 2000s. But some of it, even after all of my changing feelings about Christianity and religion and the like, some of it is genuinely some fantastic music. There we go. There we go. It is time for the Relient K album tier list. For those of you who don't know, this song, or this band, has been a part of my life for pretty much as long as I've been alive. As long as I've had an alive. Yes. And they've got the range of quality over the course of their albums has been varied, from absolute artistic masterpieces to kind of dumb, immature, like like hints of misogynistic punk rock. There's a little bit of that in there. And so I'm gonna go through, and I'm gonna give you my takes on this music. If you have never heard of Relient K, highly recommend listening to their stuff. Highly recommend specifically listening to their newer stuff. They've gotten better over the course of time, with the exception of a couple absolutely iconic albums. So, we're gonna start we're gonna go in chronological order. Some of these albums I'm not entirely familiar with. For example, Relient K, their first ever album, I'm going to put in haven't heard it. I have listened to it at one point, but I don't remember it well enough to actually rank it. I feel wrong ranking it. Anatomy of the Tongue-in-Cheek is B tier. This is like, you got hits like Sadie Hawkins Dance. You got I'm Lion-O. You got Pressing On. Like it's very much like the epitome of like what you expect from Christian punk rock. Some of it really good. Some of it, you feel like they could have it could have been a little better if they weren't, you know, restricted by the genre itself. So Anatomy and Tongue-in-Cheek, I'm gonna put it in B. Because, no, it's gotta go in C. Just because it evens out. There's some good stuff, there's some pretty not great stuff. Moving on to, I think this one actually came before Anatomy of Tongue-in-Cheek. Two Lefts Don't Make a Right, but Three Do is their second album. This one has to go in C as well. And for that reason, I think I gotta put Anatomy and the Tongue-in-Cheek up in B. Because C, so two lefts but don't make a right, but three do. I think maybe I should put them both in C for different reasons. I think musically, I think Two Lefts is better than Anatomy of the Tongue-in-Cheek. You've got some absolute bangers like In Love with the 80s. What's the College Kids is also fantastic. But the one song on this album that brings it down a tier is the song Mood Rings, which is like kind of where the cringe begins. Maybe it began in Relient K in the first album, but there's the song Mood Rings is basically, let's buy every girl a mood ring so that I know how she's feeling, because you know women, you can't really tell how they're feeling at all unless they're wearing a thing that clearly shows the color of their feelings. It's a little bit not great. Musically, most of the album is good, but that one song is not a good time. Next up is goes in A tier. It's one of their more iconic albums. They really like, I'm gonna take these off. They really like broke into the mainstream with this one. It's got stuff like Be My Escape was one of their bigger songs. Who I Am Hates Who I've Been. It also, it started becoming more serious songwriting. But yeah, is a just really solid album. They were starting to write songs more in earnest. There's still some humorous stuff. There's one song that's called My Girl's Ex-Boyfriend, which is still a little, it kind of borders on cringe, but there's still a little bit of wit to it. But they've got some, like, musically, it's super solid. Highly recommend listening to Be My Escape, Who I Am Hates Who I've Been, High of 75 is a great one. Yeah. Check out that album. Which one came next? I think... Okay, so technically the next one was the Apathetic EP, which I'm gonna put in B. Yeah. Actually, yeah. I'm gonna put it in B because I'm just trying to think. Okay, yes, I'm gonna commit to this list so far. Um, Apathetic EP, shorter stuff, just kind of an extended. It was extended on to extension of, and good stuff. Like nothing really to write home about, which I think I'm gonna put it for that reason. I'm gonna put it in C. Better than these two albums. Well, I'm gonna put these here, and then I'm gonna put these there, like that. Better than these two albums as far as themes go, and a little bit, and they're getting a little bit more varied in their musical style. But you can only do so much with an EP, and there are a couple songs on here that they ended up doing different versions of later on that I think are much better. So we've got that. Then let me pull up. Hang on. I'm just gonna go through what I think. Okay, Relient K, Let It Snow Baby, Let It Reindeer is their Christmas album, as you might be able to tell. And that also goes in A tier. It's just such a classic. If you're tired of the same, like, musical stylings that tend to accompany Christmas music, if you're tired of All I Want for Christmas Is You and Baby It's Cold Outside, if you want your Christmas music to have a little bit more punch, it's a punk Christmas album. It really is. There's some softer stuff in there, like In Like a Lion, brackets Always Winter, is really good. They've also got some stuff like I Hate Christmas Parties, which is more of their kind of like tongue-in-cheek, like it's framed as like this sad Christmas song, but they got the humor in there. They do a punk version of Handel's Hallelujah chorus from Messiah, which is just so much fun. The version of 12 Days of Christmas. 12 Daves of Christmas. There's 12 Daves. They're all celebrating Christmas. But yeah, really, really solid album. Next up, I think we've got. I haven't heard this one. I don't know what this is. That looks like a greatest hits album. I haven't heard this one. And then Nashville, Tennessee EP, I'll explain. I haven't technically listened to the EP in itself, but I have heard the songs on it. I'm pretty sure. Next one up is 5 Years Ago, which goes in. I think it would be in A tier, but similarly to Two Lefts Don't Make a Right. But this one's got some more kind of cringy songs on it. I don't know what was going on with the main songwriter, whose name is Matt Thiessen. I'd like to think that I'm related to him, but I don't know for sure. It really did, there's one song called Faking My Own Suicide, which is literally about the guy faking his own death just to get a girl to realize that she loved him, which is yikes. It's a big yikes. But like every other song on the album is really good. Like there's like, look up the songs. I Need You. The last song on the album, Deathbed, is like 11 minutes long. Definitely hits like the beats of Christian punk music, but musically is really fun. It does some cool stuff, and it's got a nice cameo from a guy named John Foreman, who is also a similar Christian rock singer-songwriter, is really, really powerful song. So yeah, it would be an A tier were it not for some cringy thematic stuff going on in a couple of the songs. Next up, we got The Bird and the B-Sides, which I'm going to put in B above 5 Score and 7 Years Ago. Not for the same reasons as 5 Score. Well, kind of. There's still some residual weird relationship stuff that pops up in this one, but this is the reason that I put Nashville, Tennessee P in Haven't Heard It and Felt Okay, because I technically have heard what's on the Nashville, Tennessee P, because the version of Bird and the B-Sides that I have includes all the songs from the Nashville, Tennessee P. And this was a weird album. It's one of their more obscure ones, but it's also got some of my favorite Relient K songs in general. Highly recommend looking up Seen and Heard, Lining is Silver, Where Do I Go From Here is also a really solid one. They do some really fun, like, goofy stuff, like Be Your Man, B spelt with 2 E's, is really goofy. And, like, they kind of start dipping more into the folk side of things. There's some folk stuff in but they really turn up the banjo on a few songs in Bird and the B-Sides. Particularly, there's let's see here. What was the Curl Up and Die is a very moody, like, relationship song. Like, it's about as close as Christian punk can get to being emo, without being actually Christian emo, which is like Anne Boleyn. But yeah, Curl Up and Die is kind of like, soft, moody, folk pop kind of thing. It's good stuff. Relient K's for Karaoke is they released this in 2 albums, in two volumes, and this is their cover album. And they did a bunch of, like, 80s, 90s, early 2000s songs, and I think they're really, really good. Some of the songs I'm just not a huge fan of in general, but I'm going to put it in A. I'm not going to put it quite... yeah, I'll put it in between these two. I'm not going to be putting anything in DNF. I just realized. Some really good stuff. They do an absolutely fantastic cover of Baby by Justin Bieber. Highly recommend. It's just, it's what they do with the songs is very much what I wish the original artists would be brave enough to do with their songs. Just give them a little bit more punch. They do a nice, like, fun rock cover of Girls Just Want to Have Fun. They do Africa, which has this, like, really fantastic moment, like, near the end, like at the very start of the last chorus. I don't want to spoil it too much, but definitely check out that album. It's really solid. And then, yeah, so that's that one. Then we've got Collapsible Lung. Collapsible Lung. Actually, wait, no, the next one up was Forget Not Slow Down, which, holy crap, that's going in S tier. Because this is debatably their best album ever. It's a breakup album, but it's just so mature, and, like, the wit is still kind of, like, hardwired into there, where, like, Matthew Thiessen has this very natural ability to find the irony in a lot of the things that he writes about without making it like too cheeky, but just cheeky enough that like it's self-aware. This album has a lot of variety on it too. Like it's got some like hard rock stuff on it, like the song Sahara is fantastic. Down to like more folk stuff, like the song Savannah, which is one of my favorite songs by them. The titular song Forget Not Slow Down, some of my favorite lyrics. They've got the pre-chorus, which goes, I could spend my life just trying to sift through what I could have done better, but what good do what ifs do? Which is a mouthful, but the more you break down what it's saying, I really appreciate this album. It was written like right after Matthew Thiessen's fiance broke up with him, I believe is the story, and he just like locked himself in this trailer, in the trailer that is in the album cover, and just wrote this album. And it's so good. It kind of sucks that like sometimes you have to go through like really heavy heartbreak like that in order to make what a lot of people consider your best work. But sometimes that's kind of, I think that's one of the beautiful things about life as an artist, is that regardless of whether you're an artist or not, you're gonna go through those times. And at least if you're able to take that and make art out of it, then you can kind of take advantage of the tragedy in your life and create good things out of it. You know, in spite of, just to spite the tragedy, you can make something good from it. So yeah, one of my favorite albums of all time, I think. Then we had Collapsible Lung. Collapsible Lung is a tad controversial. Not like, I wouldn't say it's like inherently bad, but it was a very big change from what they were making up until this point. Collapsible Lung very much leaned into a very heavy pop sound. There are some songs on the album that sound like Taylor Swift songs. Particularly thinking of the song PTL, which is by, I guess this goes for the entire album, I would say, by its own merit. Like, outside of the context of the rest of Relient K's music, it's a good, solid album. It's a good, solid pop album. I'm gonna put it in B. I'm going to put it right here. Because it's good, but it's not nothing to write home about, honestly. There are some good, catchy songs. I really like the song Can't Complain. It's a cute, kind of like Jason Mrazzi, like, kind of like pop reggae-ish sort of sound to it. There's the final song on it, That's My Jam, is really fun. It's a fun album, and I don't think it tries to be anything else. There's a lot of stuff kind of addressing kind of the struggles of dating and finding love in a giant world, and debating, you know, is it better to go for short-term relationships or to find someone that you can grow old with? Kind of exploring that stuff. So by its own merit, it is a good album. But compared to the rest of their music, it was a little bit of a disappointment when it first came out. Air for Free, I think, also goes in S tier. Air for Free took the good elements of Collapsible Lung and some of the kind of classic piano punk rock stuff that Relient is known for and melded it into something kind of different from either of them. It feels less, for the most part, it feels less like punk rock and more like alternative rock or even folk rock. There is some punk stuff, like in the song Runnin', which is a fantastic song. It's long, but it like tells a really powerful story. And there's some really fun, like weird stuff. Like there's a song called Elephant Parade that I absolutely love. It's got this like crazy, like circusy, kind of absurd horns section. And there's like more poppy stuff like Empty House, and the song Air for Free is like also on the poppier side, but it's not like, if it has more substance to it than the songs in Collapsible Lung had, but like it's got that sound because it matches the mood of the song, and communicates the song better. A lot of the songs just have like really cool, like kind of stompy piano beats, and there's definitely the humor in there. The song Cat, it's just called Cat, is really, really fun. There's some cool like kind of ukulele stuff on there, like the song Sleepin' is beautiful. It starts off with this really cool like finger picking ukulele riff, and then it goes into this really kind of fun, like upbeat, cheerful ukulele strumming sort of deal. Also has really, really good like sense of humor in the lyrics. Yeah, so that's my Relient K tier list. This is going to be going on YouTube, definitely. So if you liked what you see, then you can definitely, I encourage you to click the like button and subscribe for more. I am going to be uploading stuff to YouTube still, regardless of my streaming schedule. Today I'm not going to be uploading anything just because I wanted to have my attention focused on the stream today. But for now, that's what we've got going on. It's been, what, an hour and a half now?